So welcome everybody. My name is Maddie Cash. I am an attorney with the Association of Townships. Welcome to Township Tuesday. Today I'm going to be talking to you about cybersecurity essentials and what that kind of looks like. First, I'll get into more what's going on with the association as well, events coming up. So before I get into cybersecurity essentials, I will kind of deviate from that. If you have any questions, there will be time at the end. Otherwise, enter them into the chat and I'll kind of check that as we go. Sometimes it's hard to see the chat when I'm in presenting mode, sharing my screen. So I'm sorry if I'm a little delayed, but there'll be time at the end. I'll also have my information at the end too, if you want to send me a message privately or you want to call me with a separate issue. That information will be at the end here. So, all right, let's get started. So today we're going to talk about upcoming events, and then in terms of cybersecurity and things like that, we're going to cover why cybersecurity is necessary, cybersecurity landscapes, kind of what those look like, how to protect from cyber attacks, how do those cyber attacks occur, protecting yourself from cyber attacks, because many times cyber criminals go through one person to get to an entire entity. So it's important to first protect yourself from cyber attacks, and then also protecting the township against cyber attacks and recognizing those patterns. We'll talk about phishing attempts as well, because those are probably the most common tactic that cyber criminals use for these cyber attacks, and then what to do if there has been a cyber attack. That's kind of what we'll look at today. But first, I'm going to talk a little bit about Town Law Review. So Town Law Review is coming up on May 31st, and this is an event put on by the Association of Townships. It's a really great opportunity to hear from a lot of town law attorneys on what's going on in updates with township law and those kinds of things. It opens from 8 a.m. to about 3 or 3:30 from when that will break, and then it's $65 per officer, and that includes a lunch, a breakfast, and printed materials, as well as information that you'll receive from those township attorneys. It takes place at Rockwoods Event Center in Otsego. If you'd like to register, the registration is on our website. If you go to the Township Association's website, you'll see events, and then under there, you'll see Town Law Review, and that's where you can find the registration information. You'll hear from presenters that are experts in town law. Maybe you would be familiar with people like Troy Gilchrist or Jason Hill, Bob Rupi, Mike Corey, those attorneys who specialize in township law and have a lot of really great information. The topics they're presenting on this year include open meeting law, developer agreements, land use, road disputes, cartways, ordinance enforcement, conflicts of interest, and many more. Oh, and speed limits too. I know that's always a hot topic. So, and many more. So if you have any interest in those, or you have any curiosity as to what those presentations might include, I really, really encourage you to register for that event. It's a great opportunity to not only get to know town law attorneys, but also to network with other township officers, get to know them and expand your information that way and learn something new. So I really encourage you, that's my shameless plug of the day, to sign up for Town Law Review on May 31st. All right, cybersecurity essentials for township government. What does that look like? First, we're going to talk about why cybersecurity is necessary. So cybersecurity prevents malicious attempts to access or damage a computer or networking system. And that's kind of the main goal of these cybersecurity issues. I'm not sure if the Town Law Review will be posted on MatU. Sorry, I don't know if that'll be posted there. Sandy. Okay, continue. So as townships become more and more digital, right, they're transforming into the digital network uh, to provide the services to their citizens. They also become attractive target for these cyber criminals. This can lead to loss of money or theft of personal or financial information or medical information, and it can damage the reputation of the township, and it can damage the reputation of you as township officers. Um, it can also cause a safety and financial concerns and financial turmoil if that information is leaked. The protection of public infrastructure and sensitive data from cybersecurity attacks is a huge concern, and it's just growing more and more as the digital network becomes more relevant in township government and in government entities. In recent years, there have been quite a few high-profile incidents of targeting local governments, of cyber criminals targeting local governments. There's been township attacks in Illinois and New Jersey and Michigan, and even locally, there's been attacks on some school board systems. I know my two stepsons go to Minneapolis school system, and they had a big data breach and cyber attack last year that caused a leak of a bunch of information. So these are government entities are a pretty attractive target for cyber criminals, and it's something that townships certainly want to pay attention to. And it's an increasing issue, right? This has becoming more and more relevant as more townships turn to the internet and turn to these online platforms to better provide services to residents. Cybersecurity has increased, as well as cyber criminal activity. So according to a recent survey, a survey from 2021, that's the most recent one I could find, that included 255 state and local government respondents. 58% of those government institutions were hit by ransomware in 2021, and that was up 34% from just the year prior, which is a 70% increase. So I'm sure it's increased even since then, and it's becoming more and more relevant, and it's becoming very clear that this is something that we want to pay attention to. It's important to know how to prevent, detect, and respond to these cyber attacks as they come. They can have a wide range of effects on individuals and the township as an organization and on the community. So, cyber threat landscape, what does that look like? What does it look like when these attacks occur? So listed here in this slide are a few common attacks that townships might encounter. It's constantly evolving as cyber criminals continuously adjust their tactics to stay on top of security measures. But these are specific cyber attacks that township officers should be aware of. So first is ransomware attacks. These are attacks that involve malicious actors encrypting the victim's data and demanding a ransom payment in exchange for the decryption key. So taking over the system and then kind of demanding you pay a certain amount of money in order to access that system again. So it's common that cyber criminals will get a password to an entity and then demand that you pay them a certain amount of money in order to get that password back. Another one is phishing and social engineering tactics. This approach uses deceptive emails or messages or text messages, website links, things like that, to trick you guys or individuals into revealing information, sensitive information like login credentials or financial details. And giving unauthorized access to systems via web links, things like that. There's also distributed denial of services attacks. These attacks overwhelm a system network with excessive volumes of traffic. So think of pop-ups, and those are typically to disrupt the services that you're trying to provide or to act as a cover for other malicious activity going on behind the scenes. Data breaches are also Something you want to be concerned about. These are attacks that involve unauthorized access to government data or sensitive information, including citizens' records, financial data, or employment data that may be sensitive. That could be exploited for various purposes like identity theft or financial fraud or other cyber attacks for the future. Malware infections are viruses or worms or Trojans that can affect the government systems or compromise confidentiality. It can be spread through infected email attachments, malicious websites, or compromised software, things like that. And then there's things called zero-day exploits. These are kind of vulnerabilities or holes within the software systems that are unknown to the vendor or to the entity. So maybe an access that hasn't been caught yet, and these cyber criminals kind of go under the radar to access information without anybody knowing. And then insider threats, which I'm sure is rare in the township world, but that refers to basically cybersecurity threats by individuals within the organization, including employees or contractors or other trusted insiders that you may not have expected to steal or leak data or sabotage systems. All right, so how do these cyber attacks occur? Mostly through access to personal or township computers, cell phones, or anything else that's connected to the internet or Bluetooth connected devices like gaming systems even. So really anything that has this internet or Bluetooth connected ability. And it damages financial security. Identity theft is a big goal for these cyber criminals, and blocking your access or deleting personal information or accounts is a goal, or just complicating services for the townships in general in order to make it more difficult to provide whatever service is necessary. All right, so protecting yourself against these cyber attacks. So this is a personal protection. Cyber attacks often start at the individual level so that the cyber criminal can gain access through that individual by either pretending to be them or gaining access that that person has, whatever it may be. So in order to protect the township as an entity, it is also important to protect yourself and to protect yourself in your personal lives as well. So protecting yourself includes limiting your personal information that you share online. If you share a lot of information online, you want to make sure that you change privacy settings to ensure that information isn't public information. And be careful about location features. You'd be surprised at how often apps use your location and track your location. So if that's something you don't want to happen, make sure that you go in and check those settings and see what that looks like for you. You'll also want to update software systems and update operating systems that you might use. Create strong passwords is a big one. Make sure your passwords include uppercase letters and lowercase letters, numbers, or special characters are a good way to make long passwords. Make your password a sentence rather than a word. Password managers are really helpful. They can help you track different passwords to make sure you're using a different password on each of your systems so that if a cyber criminal has access to one system, they don't have access to all of the systems. So using a password manager can help you do that. They have different programs for that out there. And then two-method verification. So you can set it up where to log into your email, for example, you also will need to get a text message and a code through your text messages. So you can set up this two-method verification system. Change your passwords regularly. Make sure that you are constantly keeping on top of that, changing those to make sure that it's not obvious what your password is. You'll also want to obviously watch for suspicious activity. That's a big one. Something that asks you to do something right away is a red flag. If somebody says, well, you have till the end of the day to click on this link, or you have the end of the day to respond, or this is an emergency. That's usually a red flag that something's not right there. So be cautious of that. Also, any offers that seem too good to be true. This is the classic, like, you've won $1 million. All you need to do is give me your credit card information, and you've got it. So we know that's not true. Sorry, was that I accidentally clicked a button there? But we know that's not true. So you want to be cautious about that, and make sure you're not giving away any personal information due to those scams. I keep pushing that. Okay. Offers that require personal information, right? We'll give you this if you give us your password and email, right? That's a red flag there. And then anytime you think something's up, you feel like there's something wrong, there's a red flag there. Trust your gut, trust your intuition, and just take a minute before you click on any links, or emails that you get that you just maybe don't trust. Trust your instinct, and double check that information. You can use a secure internet connection. So there's things called a VPN, which creates a more secure connection. There's private entities that kind of offer these VPN. It's like think of it as a private room for your internet connection that just makes it more difficult to access. That's always a good idea, to use a more secure connection. Use antivirus and anti-malware solutions to block any threats. Back up your files regularly, and make sure you have good file storage outside of the one, right? You want to make sure there's several places in which you are backing up your information. And then don't click on links from people that were sent to you from people you don't know, or maybe people that you weren't expecting to hear from. So if you get an email from someone where you say, wow, I haven't heard from that person in a really long time, and they're telling you, click on this link, I really want to get in contact with you, that should be a red flag that something maybe is not right there, and that could be a scammer. Remember, scammers can create fake links that look like reliable websites. So even if it looks like it might be a reliable website, if there's something wrong there where it's someone you don't recognize or something's off, trust your instinct, go with your gut, and that's always the best option. All right, so that's protecting yourself against these cyber attacks. Now let's talk about protecting the township against cyber attacks. So township governments can have various challenges to implementing effective cybersecurity practices, and that includes limited budget, a lack of cybersecurity professionals working on your team, maybe older IT systems, older computer systems that can be more vulnerable to these attacks. So there's a few ways, a number of effective strategies that townships can implement these protective measures to protect yourself from cybersecurity attacks. Some easier options, more common sense, less technical, you won't have to kind of reach out to a third party, include cybersecurity policies and procedures. So first, you could establish a comprehensive policy that tailors to the specific needs of your township. And that kind of could potentially outline security measures, acceptable use of technology for your employees, incident response protocols, what will you do if something does happen, and what those employees' responsibilities are. How often should they be changing their passwords, or things along those lines. And then regularly review those policies as you go to make sure that they're up to date with the most recent technology. And then employee training and awareness. Train your employees on cybersecurity best practices, how they can protect themselves in order to protect the township. And then identifying and avoiding phishing emails, using strong passwords, safe browsing habits, those kinds of things, and let them know that they should report any suspicious activities. You can also implement robust incident response plans. So develop a response plan that outlines the steps that should be taken in the event of a security breach. And I'll kind of go over what you should do if there is a breach in a moment here. But you just want to make sure everyone is aware of what their roles and responsibilities are in establishing these protocols. and maybe assign someone a role and responsibility in the instance that something does happen. So everybody knows who to go to when these issues arise. Maybe someone who has the most expertise in technology or IT service programs. And then conducting regular readiness drills, you can do that yourself. Otherwise, there are some programs that offer assistance in the way of sending fake phishing emails to your employees to see if they'll click on it, see how, just to see how much education people do have about these issues, and see whether those employees would potentially fall for those issues, just to make sure that everybody is aware that these phishing emails exist. So that's one example of something that could exist in these readiness drills. And then collaborative partnerships. So working closely with other local governments to see what they're doing to prevent these cyber attacks, and working with law enforcement. Law enforcement agencies sometimes have best practices or resources that can help you identify emerging threats and new and popular ways in which these cyber criminals are avoiding security measures, because the more security measures you implement, these are professional hackers, right? So the more they know how to go around them. So it's kind of constantly evolving, kind of like a cat and mouse game. But those are the options to kind of right away implement some procedures within the township to make sure that everybody's aware of these cybersecurity issues. And then more technical options, if you want to kind of lean into it, include risk assessments. You can hire companies that will conduct a thorough assessment of cybersecurity risks facing the township and your township specifically. And they can help you identify vulnerabilities, evaluate potential impacts, and prioritize security efforts based on your risk level. So there are companies that will do that, obviously, for you, and they'll develop a management plan for you. There's also securing a network infrastructure. So implementing security measures like firewalls or intrusion detection systems, multi-factor authentication, right? Like the two-factor authentication for your emails or whatever it may be. Uh, and then regularly practicing software and fireware programs. So and then the final one is data protection and backup. So having maybe a robust data protection measure, like regular backups up for your data, offsite storage, encryption of sensitive data, test data backups regularly to ensure that they are safe in the event of a cyber incident or data loss. So those are also a few options that you can implement. All right, so recognizing phishing attempts. I'm going to talk a little bit more about phishing because that's a really popular one, a really common one. And I'm going to go over some ways in which you can recognize phishing attempts right away. Remember, these are always evolving because these are professional hackers. This is what these people do for a living, right? They make their money by getting into these organizations and getting financial information or personal information. So it's ever evolving. You want to really pay attention to how good they can be because they can be pretty convincing. They're really common and they present themselves as regular messages. They present themselves as regular emails. But on close inspection, they're scams with hyperlinks and malicious intention, and they threaten financial loss and data breaches. So you got to pay really close attention. Remember, these attackers look up personal information and impersonate people you know. So even if it's a email, I've gotten emails from coworkers, things like that, they were fake emails, but they were from people who I know. And they just get that information and they use that as a tactic to try to gain your trust. So they can look like just regular emails from your coworker, and they are not. Phishing emails look more and more like regular emails as time goes on, but the fake email domains contain slight adjustments. So the first thing you want to look at is these fake email domains. For the example I have here, it's real first name, real last name, and then mntownships.org. So that's the association's email domain. Now, if you look at the second one, it's so similar, but it just says mntownship.com. So those two, though they look very, very similar, are two entirely different people. And you will be emailing two different people by emailing those separate domains. So you want to really pay attention to who you are sending this email to. If it's different in any way, it's a different email domain. So you want to make sure that you pay attention to that. Another one is email signatures. So a signature of a phishing attack may also contain the name of a real employee with a legitimate address. However, maybe it's a different phone number or an incorrect malicious hyperlink that they want you to click on. So if you're ever unsure of what the phone number is or who you're contacting, make sure you get the information to contact that person outside of whatever suspicious email you're looking at, right? Because if you call the information that you get in that email, if you call the phone number to say, hey, is this real? You're just contacting that cyber criminal and they're going to say, of course it's real, right? So you want to make sure that you are getting kind of an outside information confirming that this information is real. Be aware of any grammar or spelling errors. That's a dead giveaway that these may be scams, right? Spelling or grammar errors. And be alert for any emails that prompt you to click on a link or an attachment. Don't click on any links or attachments from suspicious emails. Pay attention to where that email is coming from before you click on anything. If you're questioning anything, contact whatever agency sent you that email or whatever person sent you that email using information that you receive outside of that message. Because whatever information is within that message is probably going to lead you directly to that cyber criminal. And remember, companies won't call you to ask to control your computer to fix it. That's a really common scam where you'll get a pop-up on your computer that says, call this number, there's been an error in your computer. If that happens, contact the servicer for your computer or a separate IT organization that can help you work through that. But that's a common scam. So don't immediately contact the phone number that they are giving you, because that will contact you with a cyber criminal who is very convincing, telling you that you need to provide X, Y, and Z information. So be very cautious of that. Companies won't call you to ask to control your computer. All right, so what to do if there has been a cyber attack? There's been a cyber attack. The first thing you want to do is check your bank statements for any unauthorized charges, any issues financially that have occurred. And if you notice strange activity, limit those damages by changing all of your accounts and passwords immediately. Consider turning off any device that has been affected. Unplug it, right? Take it to a professional and have it scanned for viruses or any issues that have come up. Make sure to let everyone know what happened. Let your coworkers know so that they can be aware that this is out there and protect themselves and their own information, and potentially change their own passwords and take whatever steps they need to do to prevent more information from being compromised. Run a security scan on your device and make sure your system's not infected or slowing or inefficient. If you discover a problem, disconnect your device from the internet and perform a full restore. And let the proper authorities know. So if you want to file a complaint with the FBI, Crime Complaint Center, file a complaint with the local police, contact the agencies that hold the information that was maybe stolen. For example, the Social Security Administration for Social Security numbers, or the DMV for license or driver's license information. And report any online crime or fraud to the local United States Secret Service Electronic Crime Task Force. After you do that, you want to contact banks, other financial services service companies where you hold accounts, where the township holds accounts, place holds on any of those accounts that may be compromised. And make sure you look out for any opened credit cards or charge accounts that were unauthorized that may have occurred due to the information leak. All right. Final takeaways for this is really just be suspicious. Follow your gut. Listen to your instincts. If something feels wrong, it probably is, and confirm that with outside information, right? Don't trust the information that you're given. If it feels wrong, it probably is. Trust your gut. And protect your personal information as well as township information because they are tied, right? Hackers or cyber criminals will first try to infiltrate personal information before they get access to more information via the government organization. And then when in doubt, don't click on anything. When in doubt, leave it be until you are positive that this is from the person that you think it is, and this is a safe hyperlink that you can click on. So when in doubt, don't do anything until there is no doubt, right? All right, so that's everything I have for you guys today. Oh, Sandy said that she had a phishing attempt from her treasurer to her work email. Yeah, see, they are very, very common. Very common. Smart thing to do to text her separately, because that's exactly what I'm telling you guys to do. So if you get any information where you're suspicious something isn't right, contact that person or that organization using information that you get on your own outside of that email or message. So you did the right thing in that instance, Sandy. All right. Let me know if you guys have any questions going forward. Call or email me, whatever it may be. But I hope you have a wonderful rest of the day, and I hope it's not raining where you are because it's supposed to be downpouring here. Best of luck, though. Have a good afternoon.